Hi there friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rain Boots, and today another wild gnome pattern, a no-so-wild flower gnome. He can be a tall drink of water or tiered tray, and if you would like to make him with me, boop, stick around. As always, please like this video so I know you're here crafting with me. Now, speaking of crafting, this pattern is so versatile. It's no-sew and a sewing pattern. This one produced a 6.75-inch gnome with the cap. So you can see my supplies here: minky fabric, fur, flowers, a pot. You also need polyfill and weight. I'm going to trace my pattern onto my minky fabric. It's so plush. Be sure to follow the pattern instructions exactly on this body piece. And we're going to get that done. And then on the base, so I have a lot of people who sew and who do not sew my patterns, and this base is easy, but I want to show you what happens. First of all, go get some finger guards. If you're sewing, I have other tutorials using this exact pattern. It's super easy. If you're not sewing, you want to create a seam that's a minimum of about 1/8 of an inch thick. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that nothing busts through or busts out. So all I'm doing here is adding hot glue and aligning the base piece with the body piece. So you see there, it looks like it won't fit because you have it laying down. When you pick it up, it fits. So this goes right along that inside edge. I have burned myself already 3 times doing this. I'm about to burn myself. I remember this. I'm going to burn myself something fierce. I'll have to take a break and I'll have to come back. Can't remember. Oh, there it is. All right, so after a little burn gel, I'm going to use the right fingers and the ones with the guards and press that together. Oh, nope, just used the wrong fingers again. Listen, maybe I just need like finger guards on all fingers. I don't know. All right, once that is set, you're going to actually just turn it right sides out. Put a little poly bead in there, and that's going to be about halfway up. These poly beads are not like any food products. They don't absorb moisture. They won't rot. They won't attract pests. I suggest you use them, but that's just me. And then we're going to stuff it full of polyfill, making sure we get it into the piece. There's a curve there, so we make sure that pops out. I get a lot of questions on how much polyfill to use, and my measurement is always, if you can squeeze it and it doesn't bounce back to its form, you need more polyfill. All right, so you can either sew this or glue this up. I've shown a couple of ways. Here, we're just going to glue it and squeeze it together. There you go. Add a little glue, squeeze it together. And on this last one here, you can even tuck in the edges like I've done in previous versions of this gnome. You can see here I'm just pushing them in and then adding the hot glue and then pressing it together. Whoa, that's way too much hot glue. There you go, Sarah. And you wonder why I burn myself all the time. Okay, so I'm just squeezing it, dropping it, making sure it's stable. Moving on, and we're going to make the cap. Please follow the pattern instructions on this. Now, when you slip it on, you may have a little bit of, you see that little bit that's poking out? That bothered me. I don't know why, because I'm going to cover this entire thing. But I put a little polyfill in there, so when it pressed against the base, it pops out. For a beard, I'm using Mongolian fur in white, and I'm just cutting a C shape, and then I'm going to make a mustache. You don't have to do this. You can use yarn, you can use wool roving, you can use cotton rope, anything you'd like. This is just what I preferred. So I'm going to point the edges of this rectangle, and that's just going to allow my mustache to come together a little bit better. Flip it over, split the fur, and then glue the fabric backing together. There we go. I have my little nose ready. Now I'm going to glue this beard right at the base of those seams where everything comes together. I personally like to add only a straight line of hot glue so I can reposition it at the top, and then I add the hot glue throughout the beard. Next up, I'm going to pop on that little cap to make sure I know where to put my nose, which will also tell me where to put my mustache. So I'm just going to split the fur all the way to the fabric backing. I'm going to add a generous portion of hot glue. And I think I used a wood ball on this. Yeah, I used a wood ball on this one. You can use clay balls that you make. You can use half rounds, wool felted balls, whatever you have. And then I'm just going to tuck up that mustache right up under there and make sure everything is secure. And look, pulling out a little bit of glue strand that got into my mustache. If you can't get it out, just cut the strings very carefully, but cut them. It's okay. All right, so the next step is just to add on the front of the hat, and you are going to want to scrunch it down and hold it here just for a second. Make sure that it's secure before you start tugging down on the rest of the hat. We just don't want that front part to move. I'm just going to make sure those seams are perfectly aligned. Glue it down. You should probably do that before you glue it to the nose. I just do these now, automatically make sure that my seams are aligned because I've messed it up so very much. I glued down the other sides of the hat because I'm not making arms, give them a little tailoring, and move on to my floral extravaganza. So here I'm just testing my theory. I can pull it off, cut off the wire, and stick it to it. Yes, I can. So I'm not going to make you watch that. Took me about 30 seconds to pull all this stuff off in real time. And then it took me, I want to say it took me about a minute to a minute and a half. I can't really remember. I'll check the time codes and put a little note up here on how long this actually took. And it was really easy. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. Put on some music and listen to it. And then, as you can imagine, my next step is to glue all these on. The only tip I have here, because I think this is 100% personal preference, is to put on some of the bigger flowers first, but over the nose, put smaller flowers, just because it'll dwarf the nose. And so I just do this all the way around. I'm not going to make you, suffer through that. Okay, so some of my flowers have this plasticky, they're not very nice looking. I bought them at Michael's, but some of the leaves aren't very nice looking. So I'll show you, I end up pulling off some of those plasticky leaves. I did lay them down and went down all the way on the hat. You don't have to do that. It would look really cute as a bouquet, just like a half circle up at the top of his head. Oh, probably 3/4 circle. All right, so now I'm just making sure I have all my pieces on, making sure nothing's coming off, cutting off that leaf because it looked like it's not. And then you'll see, I see those ugly, that one's not even attached. And then this plasticky green thingy, yeah, I didn't like that. So because I had one flower left over, you can bet I found a place for it. This is how I craft. No, I'm gonna use it. Okay, so you can be done with him. Again, 6 3/4 inches tall, super cute, fits on a tiered tray, or you can do like me and buy a ridiculously awesome pot from, look how clumsy I am, y'all. I'm telling you, this is my real life. All right, so I bought this from Michael's. It's a tall, vase, a little galvanized steel vase. And I learned from Olivia at Olivia's Romantic Home that you never glue this stuff into your vessel because then you can reuse your vessel. You just use all these cut off pieces of floral foam to shove it in there so it doesn't move. Thank you, Olivia. All right, so now I'm taking some moss and I'm just tucking it in those spaces on the outside edge so that I can cover up the holes and the floral foam. And I have all these flowers, so you know what I'm going to do? I didn't think that other flowers would look good, so I decided to, this is me, see? I knock it over again. Anyway, I did this, I just 30 seconds or so, I just tucked these all around the edge, and then I just placed my gnome on top so that I didn't glue him down or anything, and he could be fixed later and put in my tier tray or somewhere else. Isn't he cute and sweet? Boop, look at him. Let me show you all the way around this guy. I love him. I think he's so happy and light and springy. What do you think? Let me know below. Also below, get that wild gnome pattern. It's a lot of fun. As always, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe for more crafty fun.